Rain slammed against the dark alley in Seoul as Kim Joo ran, his black coat whipping behind him. His breath came out harsh and fast. Boots pounded the wet ground behind him. Someone shouted, "Catch him! Chairman Ma wants him alive." A bullet hit the wall beside his face. Concrete dust kissed his cheek. He did not stop. His hand pressed against his side where blood was slowly soaking his shirt. The pain burned, but fear burned louder. He turned sharply, slid behind a parked truck, and dropped to one knee, chest rising and falling like a drum. Another shot. The truck window shattered above his head. "Cowards," he whispered, lips curling. His phone slipped from his hand and fell into a puddle. The screen lit up, and there she was. The girl in the photo. Dark skin. Soft curls. White dress. Empty eyes. Jane Bryan. His enemies were hunting him. Blood was leaking from his body. Yet his eyes locked on her picture like she was the only calm thing in the violent night. "Blind heiress," he muttered. "Only heir. Looking for her brother." His head leaned back against the cold metal. The rain hit his face like tiny knives. He laughed quietly, but there was no joy in it. "You might be my way out," he said to the glowing screen. "You don't even know me, and I'm already using you. What kind of monster does that?" Her. A memory cut through him like a blade. Seoyeon's face. Her warm hands turning cold in his. Her voice, weak, trembling. "Live, Jew, even if it hurts." He had not lived. He had destroyed himself. He had gambled away money, then power, then everything he once ruled. Now Chairman Ma owned his debts. Chairman Ma owned his death. "Kim Joo," a voice shouted from the entrance of the alley. "Come out now, or we start shooting at every shadow. You can't hide forever." Kim Joo grabbed the phone again and pulled himself up slowly, pressing tighter on his wound. 3 days. That was the last thing Chairman Ma had told him on the phone hours earlier. "You have 3 days to bring my money," Chairman Ma had said in a calm, amused voice. "After that, I will take your eyes, your hands, your tongue, slowly. The mighty Mafia king will die piece by piece." 3 days to fix what was already destroyed. His thumb hovered over the picture of Jane. He opened the file again, zoomed in on her face. He studied her expression, the stillness, the quiet pain, the loneliness she probably thought no one could see. She was blind. But he felt like the one who could not see. He imagined her voice. Would it be sharp and cold? Or soft and careful? He imagined her hand reaching out in the dark, trusting the man who said, "I'm your brother." A lie that would save his life. "Tonight I'm hunted," he whispered. "In a few days, I'll be knocking on your door, wearing your brother's name." He wiped the blood from his fingers and slid the phone into his pocket. The shouts were closer now. Flashlights cut through the rain. Kim Joo took a deep breath, straightened his back, and moved toward the other end of the alley. His steps were slow but steady. He would not die here. Not tonight. Not before he met the girl in the photo. He did not know that the same girl, sitting alone in a silent mansion in Seongbuk-dong, was about to open her door to the biggest lie of her life. And the greatest love she would ever know. The Bryan mansion stood on a quiet hill in Seongbuk-dong, tall and beautiful, yet cold like a house that had forgotten how to breathe. The lights were on, but nothing inside felt alive. In the east wing, Jane Bryan sat alone in her music room, fingertips resting gently on the piano keys. She wasn't playing, she was listening. Listening to the soft hum of the night, the faint creak of the wooden floor, the whispers of servants avoiding her shadow. To them, she was the blind heiress. Fragile. Untouchable. A curse they were paid to serve. To Jane, they were ghosts, voices with no warmth, footsteps with no honesty. She pressed a single piano key. The soft note disappeared too quickly, like everything else in her life. Miss Jane, her maid Seminit called from the doorway, voice tight. "Your dinner is ready." "I'm not hungry," Jane replied quietly. "You haven't eaten all day." "I'm still not hungry." There was silence, then hesitant steps. "Your brother hasn't contacted you yet?" Jane's hands froze on the keys. "My brother doesn't contact anyone," she said with a small, bitter smile. "He left because he wanted to. People don't return when love feels like a burden to them." Seminit swallowed. "Maybe he will." "He won't," Jane whispered. The mansion fell back into its natural state, beautiful silence, heavy loneliness. Jane stood up slowly and placed her hand against the wall, walking carefully. She counted her steps. She knew every corner, every doorway, every path. Darkness was not her enemy, it was her companion. She stopped when she reached the front hall. The air felt different. Too still. Too expectant. Then, knock, knock, knock. Her heart jumped. She wasn't expecting anyone. She turned her head slightly. Who's there? No answer. Another knock followed, firmer, confident, almost familiar. Jane's pulse quickened. Something tugged inside her chest, a strange pull she couldn't explain. Miss Jane, the butler called from across the hall. Someone insists on seeing you. Jane inhaled. Who? He claims. The butler hesitated, voice shaking. To be your brother. Jane felt the floor tilt beneath her feet. My brother, she whispered. He came back. Yes, miss. The butler moved to open the door, but Jane lifted her hand. No. Let me. Her fingers brushed along the wall until she reached the cold doorknob. She turned it slowly. The heavy door opened with a soft groan. Rain rushed in. Cold air touched her skin. And then a voice followed. Deep. Rough. Gentle in a way that made her chest tighten. Jane, the stranger said. It's me, your brother. She couldn't see him. She could only feel him, in the tremor of his breath, in the warmth radiating from his presence, in the way his voice carried both distance and closeness. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Her brother never had a voice like this. Her brother never spoke her name gently. Her brother never returned home at night, or at all. Jane stepped back slightly. Who are you? She whispered. The man stepped forward, his shoes sinking into the soft carpet inside the doorway. I'm the person you've been waiting for, he said softly, and the person who's finally come home. Her heart responded before her mind could stop it. It fluttered. Her fingers curled into her palm. She wanted to believe him. She wanted someone to come home. She wanted warmth in her cold mansion. But something inside her whispered danger. You sound different, she said slowly. I've been gone a long time, he replied. People change. She swallowed. Why did you leave me? There was a pause, a long one. And in that heartbeat of silence, the man who stood before her hated himself. Kim Ju managed a soft lie. I'm here now. Isn't that enough? Jane's lips parted. Her heart didn't know him. But her loneliness welcomed him. Welcome home, she whispered. Kim Ju exhaled slowly, guilt wrapping around his chest like barbed wire. He stepped inside the mansion that would soon become his battlefield. And she stepped into a lie that would soon become her greatest love. The Bryan mansion was quiet that morning, too quiet. Sunlight seeped through the tall windows, but it didn't warm the air. Everything felt still, as if the walls were listening. Kim Ju walked beside Jane, matching her slow steps. She knew every hallway by touch alone, her fingers brushing the wall, her feet memorizing the distance between one room and the next. He watched her carefully. Every movement. Every breath. Every hesitation. He needed to know her world, if he was going to destroy it. Did you sleep well? Kim Ju asked gently. Jane tilted her head. His voice was close, warmer than last night. I slept enough, she said. The house always feels different when someone new enters it. Different how? He asked. She stopped walking. Her hand lingered on the wall. Like it's breathing again, she whispered. He wasn't ready for how deeply that hit him. They continued, and Jane suddenly paused near a doorway. This is the dining room, she said. You used to eat here with me, before you left. Her voice cracked at the end. Kim Ju swallowed hard. I remember, he lied. Do you? She turned her face toward him. Her eyes, though unfocused, felt like they were searching him. Because I don't remember your voice. I don't remember your steps. I don't remember your smell. You feel new. He stiffened. She could sense him too easily. Kim forced a soft laugh. Life changes people, Jane. Or hides them, she whispered. Before he could respond, Suminit approached with a bow. Breakfast is ready. Jane didn't move. Bring it here. Suminit blinked in confusion. Here, miss. Yes. I don't feel like sitting far from him today. Kim Joo felt the air shift. She didn't know him. She shouldn't trust him. Yet she wanted him close. He forced himself to breathe. Suminit set the tray on the nearby table. Jane lifted a spoon, but it trembled. She frowned. Kim stepped closer. Let me help. Jane hesitated. Why? He softened his voice. Because I should have never left you alone. Her lips parted, surprised, touched, unsure. Kim guided her hand gently, showing her the bowl's position. His fingers brushed hers, and she froze. The contact sent a small shock through them both. Your hands, she whispered. They feel different. Kim smiled faintly. Stronger, maybe. No, she shook her head slowly. Softer. He looked away. A Mafia king with soft hands. If only she knew. As she ate, she asked quietly, why did you really come back? His throat tightened. Because I need your money. Because I'm running for my life. Because I'm not your brother. Because I'm a liar. But what came out was, because I missed my sister. Her spoon slipped, hitting the tray lightly. She didn't speak for several seconds. Then, softly, you're lying, but I want to believe you. His heart twisted painfully. After breakfast, she touched his arm lightly. A small, fragile trust. Can you stay with me today? She asked. Kim Joo nodded before he could stop himself. Yes. I'll stay. Jane smiled, small, real, warm. Kim's chest tightened again. This was supposed to be simple. A plan. A lie. A job. But now, he was beginning to see her. Her quiet strength. Her heavy loneliness. Her stubborn hope. And the more he saw her, the less he knew how to leave her. The next morning, the Bryan Gardens glowed beneath soft sunlight. Flowers swayed gently, the fountain whispered, and for the first time in years, someone walked beside Jane. Kim Joo kept one step away, watching her carefully. She held her cane loosely in her right hand, but she wasn't using it much. Instead, her left hand hovered close to him, close enough to touch, close enough to trust. Why did you bring me outside? She asked quietly. Because the world is bigger than the rooms you hide in, Kim Joo replied. I don't hide, she said. He stopped walking. Then why do you look frightened every time the wind changes? Jane's lips parted in surprise. You notice things too quickly. I notice you too quickly, he said before thinking. She turned slightly toward him. Her cheeks flushed a soft pink. Why? Kim's heart thudded. Because I'm falling for you. Because you're the only warm thing in my frozen life. Because I came to lie, but every minute makes the lie heavier. Instead, he said, because you carry loneliness like a second skin. Jane inhaled sharply. The truth of that sentence cracked something inside her. They continued walking. Jane lifted her face to the sun, letting the warmth touch her eyelids. What does the garden look like today? She asked. Kim blinked. Describe it. Yes, she said gently. Let me see through you. He hesitated. This felt intimate. Almost too intimate. But he nodded. The roses are bright red, he said softly. Like they're burning. The lilies are open, white as snow. The fountain is shining, drops catching the sunlight like tiny stars. Jane smiled, slow, soft, real. Beautiful. You are, too, he whispered. Her breath hitched. What? Nothing, he said quickly, rubbing the back of his neck. Keep walking. But she didn't move. She turned toward him, her hand searching the air until it brushed against his jacket. Kim Joo, she whispered. Why do you sound like someone who's trying to protect me? He froze. Because I am. Instead of answering, he gently took her hand and guided it to a nearby bench. Sit, he murmured. She obeyed, her hand still in his. She didn't let go. Do you know, she began quietly, that no one has touched my hand in years. Not like this. Not like they want to stay. Kim slowly sat beside her. Their shoulders brushed, just barely, but the warmth rushed straight to both their hearts. I'm not your enemy, Jane, he said softly. I don't know who you are, she whispered. But I don't want you to leave yet. Those words nearly destroyed him. A lie created the bond between them. But this moment, this closeness, felt painfully real. He moved her hand to the fountain's edge, letting cool water run over her fingers. She gasped lightly. It feels like life. Kim watched her face, watched the wonder bloom across it. You deserve to feel everything, he said, voice low. Not just darkness. She turned her head, slowly leaning toward the sound of his voice. Stay close, she whispered. Just for today. He shouldn't. He knew he shouldn't. But he leaned in too. For one dangerous second, their lips hovered inches apart, warm breaths mingling, hearts pounding like warnings. He pulled back first. If he kissed her now, he would never be able to lie again. Let's go inside, he said, voice strained. Jane nodded, though disappointment flickered across her face. They stood, and she let him guide her back into the mansion. Neither of them noticed the shadow watching from an upstairs window, eyes cold, lips thin, hands clenched. Someone inside the house did not want Jane happy. Someone knew this stranger didn't belong. And someone was already planning to ruin them both. The Bryan mansion changed after that day in the garden. Jane felt it first. A shift in the air. Footsteps that paused too long outside her door. Whispers cut off when she entered a room. Something dark was moving inside her home, something she couldn't see, but could feel in her bones. And Kim Joo felt it too. That night, he stood in the dim library, flipping through an old photo album he had stolen from Jane's room earlier. He shouldn't have touched it, but he needed answers, answers he didn't expect to find. The album was filled with pictures of Jane's parents. Smiling. Alive. Holding Jane as a baby. A family that looked whole. Until the last page. He froze. The final picture showed Jane's parents standing beside a man Kim recognized immediately, one of Chairman Ma's old partners. A man who disappeared the same month Jane's parents died. Impossible, Kim muttered. What the hell were you doing in this house? The hairs on his neck rose. Something wasn't right. Jane's parents' deaths weren't random. They were connected to the same darkness that now hunted him. Footsteps approached. Kim slid the album back, pretending he was browsing books. Jane appeared at the doorway. You're awake, he said softly. I heard something, she whispered, voice trembling slightly. Like someone walking outside my room. Kim's body stiffened. Who? I don't know, but it wasn't you. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You're safe. I'm here. Jane exhaled shakily, gripping her arms. This house doesn't feel like mine anymore. It's hiding something, Kim murmured. Or someone. Jane turned toward the sound of his voice. Why do you sound worried? He hesitated. Should he tell her what he found in the album? That her family's death might have been murder? That she was living under the same roof as someone who wanted her gone? No. Not yet. Instead, he reached for her hand. Because I care, he whispered. Her cheeks warmed. You act like more than a brother sometimes. He froze, but she didn't pull away. Their moment was cut short by a crash from the back of the mansion. Jane gasped. What was that? Stay here, Kim commanded, already moving. No, don't leave me, she begged, grabbing his sleeve. He felt her trembling. He placed her hand on his chest so she could feel his heartbeat, steady, strong. I'll be right back, he promised. I swear. Her fingers tightened for one last second before she let him go. Kim Joo sprinted down the hall. When he turned the corner, he saw shattered glass and muddy footprints leading toward the servants' quarters. Someone had broken in. Someone who wasn't afraid of being caught. Someone searching for something. Kim's pulse spiked. His enemies had found him. He scanned the darkness, and then heard a faint whisper behind him. Kill him quietly. The girl must not know. Kim spun, grabbing the shadowed intruder by the collar and slamming him into the wall. Who sent you? Kim growled. The man choked out, Chairman Ma, wants you dead, before sunrise. Kim's fist tightened. His nightmare had entered Jane's home. His enemies were now inside the walls of the one place she thought was safe. And that meant she was no longer just part of his lie. She was part of his danger. He knocked the man out cold. Then he whispered to himself, voice shaking. I have to protect her, even if it kills me. The Bryan mansion was unusually silent the next morning, as if the walls were holding their breath. Kim Joo barely slept. He had dragged the unconscious intruder into an abandoned shed behind the estate, tied him up, and questioned him until dawn. The man said only one thing before passing out again. "She's next. Kill the girl after the boss gets you." Kim's heart stopped when he heard that. Jane was now a target because of him. He walked back inside, his jaw tight, mind racing. He needed to protect her. He needed to get her out of the mansion. But how could he protect her when he was the danger living under her roof? As he walked through the hallway, he heard voices, two servants whispering urgently. "Do you think he's really her brother? He doesn't act like it." And the boss, Chairman Ma, he's looking for a man with that voice. If Miss Jane finds out, she won't. She can't. And if she does, he'll kill her first. Kim froze. And he wasn't the only one listening. Further down the hall, standing in the corner with her fingers trembling against the wall, was Jane. Her face was pale. Her lips parted. She was breathing too fast, too quietly. Kim's heart plunged. She heard them. He stepped forward. "Jane." She flinched as if struck. "Don't. Let me explain," he said softly. "Explain?" Her voice cracked. "Explain what? That my servants fear you? That someone is hunting you? That you are not who you say you are?" Kim felt something inside him tear. "Jane, please. What is your real name?" she whispered, voice shaking like glass. He swallowed hard. "Kim Joo." She nodded slowly, as if confirming a nightmare. "Not my brother. No." Her hands began to shake uncontrollably. "You lied to me, every day, every hour. And I trusted you. Jane, I didn't come to hurt you. Then why are people trying to kill you?" she cried. "Why are you hiding in my house? Who are you really?" He closed his eyes. There was no way out. She deserved the truth. "I was a mafia boss," he said, voice low. "I lost everything. I made enemies. I came here because I needed a way to survive." Jane stepped back. Another step. Another. Each one felt like a knife in his chest. "You used me," she whispered. "You touched my hands. You spoke softly to me. You made me feel safe." Tears rolled down her cheeks. All of it was fake. "No," he said quickly, a tremor in his voice. "Not all of it. Not anymore. Enough," she whispered. "Don't lie again. I can hear lies in your breathing." She turned away, hugging herself tightly. Kim stepped forward. "Jane. Stay back." He froze. "Leave," she said, voice barely audible. "Before I break more than you intended to." He wanted to beg. He wanted to take her hands and tell her everything. That he fell for her. That she changed him. That she was the only light he had left. But she was trembling. And her tears were real. And his presence was poison. So for the first time since entering the mansion, Kim Joo obeyed her. He stepped back into the shadows. She walked blindly down the hall, sobbing, her hands searching for a wall that felt stable. He whispered, voice shattered. "I'm sorry, Jane. I never meant to fall in love." But his enemies didn't care about heartbreak. And before sunset, they would come for him. Inside the Bryan mansion, Jane sat alone in her room, fists clenched, tears drying on her cheeks. She replayed everything, every touch, every soft word, every stolen breath between her and Kim Joo. All lies. All real. All confusing. She pressed her hands to her ears as if she could block out her own thoughts. "Stop thinking about him," she whispered. "He used you. He lied. He's dangerous." But her heart didn't understand logic. Her heart remembered warmth. Her heart remembered safety. Her heart remembered the voice that said her name like it was something precious. And that was when the gunshot shattered the night. Jane gasped and stood instantly, heart racing. The sound came from outside, close, too close. She reached for her cane and hurried toward the hall. Servants screamed. Feet ran. Someone shouted her name. Then she heard the words that froze her blood. "They took him. They took Kim Joo." Jane's world tilted. "What? Who?" The butler stuttered, voice shaking violently. "Men in black masks. They broke in. They dragged him away. He didn't fight back. He just said," the man swallowed. He said he was sorry. Jane felt her knees weaken. She held the wall tightly. Where did they take him? She whispered. Out the back gate. 3 cars. They were armed. Her heart beat so hard it hurt. She knew who had taken him. The Mafia hunting him. The same men who wanted her dead, because she mattered to him. Because he loved her. That truth shook her. Her cane dropped to the floor. Miss Jane, where are you going? The butler cried as she rushed past him. I'm going to him. You can't, he shouted. They'll kill you. Jane turned, tears filling her eyes. They already killed the only world I knew. If I let them kill him too, then what's left of me? She ran, blind, terrified, but determined. The storm outside roared as she pushed through the mansion doors into the rain, her dress soaking instantly. Miss Jane. Stop her. She'll die. But she didn't stop. She followed the sound of engines fading down the hill. Her feet slipped, her breath shook, her body trembled, but she kept going. The world was darkness, but she had always lived in darkness. Her heart was her compass now. When she reached the main road, headlights appeared. Do-Hyun's old motorcycle screeched to a halt beside her. Jane! He stared at her in shock. You can't be here. Take me to him, she begged. Please. Do-Hyun hesitated only a second. Then he handed her a helmet. Hold on tight. She climbed on, gripping the back of his jacket as they sped into the storm. Inside an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Seoul, Kim Joo hung from a rope tied around his wrists, blood dripping from his nose. Chairman Ma stepped into the light. You didn't think you could hide behind a blind girl forever, did you? He sneered. Kim lifted his head slowly. Don't touch her. Oh, I won't. Chairman Ma smirked. Not if she stays out of this. But she wouldn't. Back on the road, Jane clung to Do-Hyun as rain whipped her skin. She wasn't afraid anymore. Hold on, Kim Joo, she whispered into the storm. I'm coming. Because the truth was clear now. She didn't love a lie. She loved the man behind it. The warehouse loomed in the storm like a wounded beast. Rain hammered the metal roof, thunder roared through broken windows. Inside, Kim Joo hung by his wrists, barely conscious. Blood lined his face. His breathing was sharp, uneven. Chairman Ma circled him slowly. You should have stayed dead, Kim Joo, he hissed. Now you've dragged that blind girl into your grave. Kim forced his eyes open. If you touch her, I swear, I will burn your world. Oh! Chairman Ma laughed cruelly. Let's see how much fire a dying man has left. He raised his gun. But outside, a motorcycle skidded to a halt. Do-Hyun jumped off first. Jane, stay behind me. Jane didn't listen. She stepped into the darkness, soaked, trembling, but unstoppable. Her hands shook as she felt her way forward. Kim Joo, she called out over the thunder. Kim Joo, answer me. Inside, Kim's head snapped up. His heart nearly broke. Jane, don't come in. But it was too late. She stepped through the warehouse entrance, and Chairman Ma froze. Well, he sneered. The little princess came to die. Kim jerked against the ropes. Let her go. Jane's voice trembled, but her words were strong. Take me instead. Kim's breath caught. Jane, no. Chairman Ma smiled like a man smelling victory. How sweet. She really does love you. Jane lifted her chin. I do. Kim's heart shattered and healed in the same beat. Do-Hyun lunged from behind a crate, tackling one of Ma's men. Gunshots exploded. The warehouse erupted into chaos, shouting, fighting, the sharp echo of bullets. Jane dropped to the floor, covering her head. Jane. Kim screamed. Move to the left, crawl. She listened, trusting his voice over everything, the thunder, the guns, the fear. Each instruction guided her through the danger. Ma fired again, and Jane felt heat graze her arm. She gasped. Kim roared, pulling hard enough on the ropes to tear skin. Do-Hyun managed to knock a gun across the floor. Jane's hand brushed it. She froze. Joo. I found something. Slide it to me, Kim ordered. But before she could, Chairman Ma kicked the gun away and grabbed her by the hair, dragging her up. Jane cried out. Kim's blood turned to ice. Let her go. Chairman Ma pressed a knife to her throat. Die with your lover, he whispered. That sentence snapped something inside Kim Ju. With a final, painful pull, he tore free of the rope. His wrists bled, but he didn't feel the pain. He charged forward and slammed into Chairman Ma with a force born from pure desperation. Jane stumbled back. The knife dropped. A gun fired. Silence. Then a cry broke through it, Kim Ju's voice. Jane. Jane, talk to me. She touched her stomach, warm blood coated her fingers. Ju. I'm okay. I think. She collapsed. He caught her instantly, dropping to his knees, cradling her in his arms as rain poured through the broken roof. Stay with me, he begged. Please, Jane. Stay. Her hand searched for his face. I can't see anything. You don't need to see, he whispered through tears. Just breathe. Just stay. Do-hyun rushed over. We need to get her to a hospital now. Kim lifted her into his arms and ran into the storm. Months passed. Jane woke in a bright hospital room, her sight finally restored after surgery. Shapes sharpened. Colors bloomed. Light danced. But Kim Ju was gone. He vanished from the hospital. He vanished from Seoul. He vanished from her life. Her heart ached until she could no longer stay still. She searched every village, every port, every quiet corner of Korea, until she found him in a small seaside town, repairing fishing nets under the fading sunset. He froze when she approached. His eyes filled instantly. Jane, he whispered. You can see me. She smiled through tears. I've always seen you, just not with my eyes. He fell to his knees, head pressed to her hands. I'm sorry. For everything. For every lie. For every tear. Jane lifted his face gently. Then spend the rest of your life telling me the truth. Kim reached into his pocket, hands trembling, pulling out a small silver ring. Marry me, Jane, he whispered, voice breaking. Let me love you the right way, for the rest of my life. Her answer was simple. Yes. They held each other as waves crashed beside them, the storm long gone. Love had finally come home.